tika 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 tika, very staccato-y. For example, listen to Yoon D Lee play it. I admire him. It's amazing playing. It's so clean and so perfect, but it's not legato. It sounds like a machine. It sounds like a machine gun. Every note. I mean, it's chiseled to perfection, but it doesn't have that pearly legato at all. See, like I feel like this is sort of, even though it sounds a little bit détaché in slow motion, it actually comes out kind of pearly, which I think is nice. Again, like I'm here, it's 3/5, 5/3. It's pretty much always third finger on the black keys. And I opt for 5 instead of 4 whenever possible. The only time I use 4 is on E and B. Here, here. Otherwise, it's all 5/3. And again, instead of twisting my hand, I'm putting my elbow more in so that it's a straight line, but it's coming more this way. Okay? And you sit kind of very upright, very noble, and let your arm kind of hang. If you can get this angle, there's like a slot. I don't know how to explain it. It's like an angle of holding your hand where the notes just sort of ripple, and you all you have to do is just keep wiggling and keep spiraling and focus on that continuity, and you can get through the whole thing. You know, there are only a few spots, such as this one. Gosh, I hate that spot. I just can't do it. And you know, it's some people think it's the easiest part of the piece, but it's still a mystery to me. I'm still kind of having trouble with that spot. I used to be able to play it before I fucked up my hand. But after this thing where I started practicing this with that high finger technique crap, I lost my ability to play this piece. I'm telling you, I'm like retracing my steps, trying to get back to what Michael Blum, whatever I had achieved with him, you know. And it was really only like 1 or 2 lessons I had with him. It was more of an intuitive feeling I got just from these ideas of like using your whole body to play. So even here, I think it probably has to be a smaller rotation, but it definitely has to be rotation. I've thought about maybe doing all 4 or 5, but it just seems kind of dangerous. I kind of like the 4/3, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4. It seems like most people do that too. But I have trouble with the expansion. Like at that last second, you have to get over there. But probably you have to release. That's definitely important here, is this feeling of release that allows you to get over there to those. And here, you have to release and move in to get to that one, because that's very difficult. You can't try to do that legato. It's stupid. Nobody will hear it. You have to just go to it. So basically, I think I have like 3 things I think about here. It's like the wiggling the pinky. So the pinky somehow has to be activated. I feel like that helps you get over to the next thing better. My pinky was just not really doing anything. The other thing is the shake kind of feeling. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, I think in between each chord, you want to have the hand move to a closed position. So it's like it opens and close, open, close, open, close, open, close. because it'll feel better when it's closed. You feel like you can just wiggle like super fast. I can't do it now, but now I'm telling. I know this is like, and it wasn't that good. I know this is flying in the face of like people who play like this, with no wrist. Ugh, but I can't do it. There's no way I could play that way. It doesn't work. This finger flattens out. This one stiffens. It's terrible. The only way I can sort of get through this, and I used to be able to I'm telling you, I used to be able to play it better. Look at my video. But I'm sort of retracing my steps right now. The only way I can do it is with this shake. If I leave out the second finger, it's easier. Which made me even think about leaving it out or redistributing it. I could maybe just put it in the left hand somehow. You could actually just play this, because the left hand is not doing anything there. I've considered that, but I tend to feel like that's cheating in a piece like this. Sorry to say. And I do feel like if you use these techniques, like Chopin, is teaching you that there is a way to play what he's written, the way he's written it, without getting tired, if you're willing to, crack the code, so to speak. Another thing that I thought was really interesting, but it's, again, very like esoteric and tricky to describe. It's almost something you have to feel in order to get it. But it was something that this guy Michael Blum showed me, the Levine Boulanger guy who keeps a very low profile in New York City. He doesn't play in public anymore, but he's really, I think he was really a great pianist, and I learned things from him that I didn't get from anywhere else, about using the whole body as the instrument, sort of like a Zen master of piano, like it's a martial art or something, but very musically, oriented, all about like opening, closing the body to make the cantabile. Basically you're a singer, but the sound is coming out your fingers instead of your mouth, but you still have to breathe. Like he would talk about breathering, how you're going to breathe through the piece, as well as fingering. And so that was very interesting too. But okay, so this other concept is focusing on the palm and not the fingers. The fingers growing out of the palm, I guess you could say. But it was this idea of having a very tranquil feeling in the palm at all times somehow kept the fingers from feeling uncomfortable. And also that angle he was talking about, like if you get the right alignment, you won't get tired and you won't have the speed barrier. So it's like all those things together. And then another thing is like, listen how loud that was. Like it could be so much lighter than that, So as I'm playing, like, focusing on relaxing the palm. So here, all 3/5. I do slide there. Now here's a weird thing. 3/5, 3/5, 3/5, 3/5, 3/5, 3/5, 3/5. Here, 2, 3/5. It's weird as hell to do 3/5, 2, 3. Again, it might not work for your hand, but it's working for mine. And here, you have to actually I would say lift the pinky, but lifting fingers flat is different from lifting them curved. Like you can do this all day and you'll be fine. You do this all day, then you run into problems. So this is a very powerful feeling in this etude. See, as soon as I activate the pinky and make sure that it's doing its thing, it's doing its job, it starts to be easier. Now I'm kind of exaggerating. There was probably like too much motion there. But I think you can see there's this kind of spiral, and also the contrary movement to the left that I was talking about that way. I'm exaggerating. It's not that big, but there's this feeling that you're just staying here, and the hand almost moves itself. I feel like my hand is being pulled to the right. I don't feel like I'm trying to get up there. I feel like I'm just doing this, and it's just sort of rolling its way up there. And I'm constantly relaxing. Every finger that plays, it's just super loose at all times. And again, that palm, like relax the inner part of the hand. Keep the angle. Always this feeling of open and closed. Watch Martha Argerich play Tchaikovsky concerto. She plays the chords like this. She's almost like opening and closing the hands, even in that Tchaikovsky concerto. But that feeling is very powerful. And even if you actually do all that stuff, there's actually no need to cheat. You don't even have to redistribute. Some people redistribute Shishkin does that. He doesn't play that. He does this. So he puts the that's how he gets that great voicing, which he does have very nice voicing there. But yeah, it's like every note I play, it's just like wiggling. It's like I'm not trying to get into the keys. I'm just sort of doing this motion impervious to where my fingers are landing. It's like if you can do this. Then you can play the piece. So then I'm a little tight because I've been demonstrating so much, but yeah. So it's not perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than I can play if I do the old-fashioned, finger independence, the way that the Chinese pianists I assist teaching would tell me to practice it. My hands just can't do that. I think after a certain point, I had to be honest with myself. Like, there's no way I could do that. And honestly, like, I don't think Chopin played that way either. Like, what do you think? Do you think Chopin was known for being able to, like, just effortlessly play even the most difficult things, like, without even necessarily practicing a lot? He didn't practice that much. And if you practice this way, you don't feel like you need to practice that much and rehearse things like constantly and constantly to get them. I remember I played a recital with this technique, and it was like the chillest I ever was before an audience, and I felt like I could do no wrong. I was more free because I wasn't worried about execution. I was more focused on freedom of musical expression. And I think it's probably the way Chopin wanted it to be played. There's a great video of Garrick Olson talking about the first etude. And he also talks about rotation and not trying to nail every note. He he's talking about expanding, contracting the hand, and more natural hand position. You can see he has a masterclass on the winter wind too. And that also brings me to another point, which this guy Michael Blum, I keep bringing him up, said, there's really only one etude by Chopin, but there are 24 different forms of it. And I think somebody told him that. He didn't come up with that. And I really thought about this. I'm like, what does that mean? That there's only, I guess, yeah, okay, it's nice, but is it really true? There's only one etude, just 24 different forms of it. More and more, I think that's really right. Because the more I explored these ideas in all of the Chopin etudes, the more I see the commonality. For example, again, like the Chopin Etude number 1 even, there's again this sort of kind of pulsation and the feeling of grasping, wiggling the fingers without having to, do this shit because you're not going to have a good sound if you practice that way. You could do dotted rhythms till the day you die, and it's going to sound like crap. If you really want to have that kind of wavy, again, like listen to Argerich play. How do you think Argerich's hand looked when she played it? Like everything else, she plays. I always wonder, there are certain pieces she plays, I wish they were on video. But I guarantee, like, if we had a video of it, we'd be disappointed because it would look like everything she does. Her hand position's like always the same, no matter what she plays. It's natural. She doesn't like artificially manipulate the hand. So you're here. You could do the rotation. You could just move the thumb. But yeah, I focus on, how do I explain it? Bringing the thumb to here. There's no stretch. The hand's just like crawling. Open and close. Pretty much a straight line. Some of them, there can be some in and out. There is this sort of thing. Let me see if I can explain. See, watch. There's like a little of this. Or you can try that too, like, because some fingers are longer, and here you have to, this is difficult, all of those turnarounds, you have to make sure you release fourth finger, and it comes from the elbow, the rotation, compact. Then it'll come out crystal clear. If you try to curve the fingers and articulate it, you're gonna get really tired. Even this one, I don't think so much about 4 and 5. I think more about the thumb. And there's no speed barrier when you play that way. So I think Chopin was probably playing more this way. Like, I don't think he played like Pogorelich with his hands all contorted. When you read about the accounts of Chopin's playing, I think he probably had a technique more like Argerich or something. I hate to always have to resort to personalities, but it's easy because you guys can look it up and see what I'm talking about. They're very different. Some people think all these people play the same way. I don't think they do. I think there are definitely different schools of playing, and there are degrees to which some subscribe to certain theories over others. Again, like Argerich is not Taubman technique. She might you can see she does rotations, but she plays with 3/4 on octaves, which Taubman person would never say to do. But Taubman people are actually more open minded than they have their reputation of being. Because if something is working, they won't change it. Anyway, okay, so this pretty much is my idea on it. Hopefully, it will get better that I can record it again, and I'll try to do that if I feel like it's good enough. But yeah, this has been helpful because at least I can play the piece again. Um, Let me know what you think. Please comment and subscribe. I'd love to hear your feedback and if it helps too. Um, and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer. All right. Thank you for watching.